Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Whatever time it is for you, I'm Psycho. It's time for more Let's Play Train Simulator Classic. The second scenario listed in the manual is, in fact, this winter commuter service. And I'm kind of thought last time I was going to be going straight to the outer southern service. Part of me wanted to do the outer southern service, but you know what? We're going to stick to the manual order for the 4, 5, 6 scenarios at least. I may flip over to the 3, 7, 5 scenarios before we finish the 456. Kind of like a World Series type thing since there's 7 scenarios. Do the 3, 7, 5s, come back to the 4, 5, 6. I haven't decided if we're going to do that or not yet. But we will see. For right now, though, we are going to stick with the manual order and do the winter commuter scenario next. So let's go ahead and take a look at this second scenario, a level 4 scenario. And we're going to see what that entails. Let's get started. Good evening, driver. Today you'll be driving the 2010 service, I assume that's a time 2010, not a year, to West Croydon via Tulse Hill, and we'll be calling at South Bermondsey, Queens Road, Peckham, Peckham Rye, East Dulwich, that's a new one, North Dulwich, Tulse Hill, Straetham, Straetham Common, we know Straetham Common, Norbury, we know Norbury, Thornton Heath, we know Thornton Heath, Selhurst, we know Selhurst, and West Croydon, not East Croydon. So everything up to Tulse Hill and Straetham is part of the South London network and is not available on London to Brighton, but then we're going to merge into the London to Brighton route, which is part of both routes, and we're going to be dipping off over to West Croydon to finish the service. And we haven't actually been over at West Croydon yet, even on London to Brighton, which I don't believe the station exists on that. I'm not 100% on that. But nonetheless, we are going to head over there. That's the path that heads down towards Horsham. Of course, we're not going to see any of that. That's a separate route being developed by another developer, which is actually also a freeware route. I want to check that out someday as well. Let's get started on this one for the time being. So, doors are going to open. I believe that's the first thing we have to do. Yes, it is. So you can see all the stops mentioned. It is a busy itinerary here today. So let's get ourselves to work. Reset the AWS, self-test sequence, move our brakes to a step 1 as we get ready to go. Headlights are on. I already poked around, the instrument lights don't seem to work on the letter I, so I'm going to assume we don't really have instrument lights that work from the keyboard. Though I may be able to find out for you in a moment if that is the case. Well, yes, there is an instrument lights button. I'll see if I can do it while we're driving. So in the meantime, let's get ourselves going. I'll check the instrument lights at our first stop, actually. Just to make sure they are on. I have to find the button. So leaving London Bridge, we're heading to South Bermondsey, our first stop. You can see our green signal up ahead. We're leaving at 20 miles per hour. We're not going to exceed that for the time being. We need to arrive by 2013 and change. We're leaving via line 8 or line B. I'm not sure if that's an 8 or a B. It seems we're going to need wipers today, so there we go. Not sure how many levels of headlights we have here, but yeah, they seem to work. Okay, there was a train over there. You can't really see much in the dark here, but you can see they're labeled. We continue to have a green signal here. We are getting line B because that is C next to us, so that's definitely a B, not an 8. We can now go up to 60 miles per hour, so we will increase our speed limit at this time. Or speed of travel, rather. I do have some minor concerns over potential wheel slip as we come to a stop at South Bermondsey. So this could be a little bit tricky for me. We're going to see how the brakes work at certain levels. This will be an experiment for me. There's another train leading with us. SCO5, there's another train in London Bridge coming in. The SCO5 is obviously taking a route that we're not going to be following. So the train that had a label is a train that is on the route that we're following. See the 45 limit coming up ahead. We also have to stop shortly after that anyway, so it doesn't matter. We're being warned of that 45. I actually instinctively slowed the throttle down before I needed to because of that. Because that is our existing speed limit coming up, I'm just going to kind of hold it right there for the time being. Throttle is moving a little quickly between 1, 2, 3, and 4 there. I'm moving 2 levels at a time, it looks like. So we have a whole minute to make our stop. This is not feeling good. Yeah, this is not feeling good at all for me right now. Knowing we only have 1 minute to make our stop. In the rain, there's a good chance of wheel slip as well. So we're going to see what we have to work with here. First level. Yeah, we are going to be pushing this stop on time. Look at this. Level 2 brakes now. We should make the stop on time. We should be okay. I kind of wanted to cruise it a little bit further, but I'm not going to really have time to do that. So arrival at South Bermondsey platform number 2. Doors are now open. Just playing with the cab light there for a moment. Leaving South Bermondsey. Our next stop is Queen's Road, Peckham. I did figure out the instrument lights as well, so you can notice the instrument lights are now on. It's just an on-off toggle on the dashboard in front of us. It's not visible in this view, but a wider view will give you access to it, or you can just use the mouse to move your view down to find them. Again, we'll do the tour at a later time when it's daylight again, preferably. Boy, that's just simulating a lovely, lovely spring evening here. Or whatever season this is. So we have, again, a whole minute to make our stop at Queen's Road, Peckham. At our current speed, this is questionable. But we're going to have time to bring our brakes down, bring our brakes up gradually anyway, instead of having to rush them. Because we can stop anytime within that minute, we should be okay. So I have gone into an idle setting, as you noticed. I'm idling at 40 right now. And I'm actually dropping because I'm on a little bit of an uphill, so I'm going to keep the throttle on just a tad here to not lose too much speed. Peckham is right behind there. Back to an idle setting. And I'm going to put a small brake application on now to get those brakes going. We're now at the point where we need to start stopping to be on time. Going to get as much of the platform as I can. I did notice on one of the at one station on the last snare where there was a 3-car stop, I actually stopped close to. I still don't know the stations well enough to, and I'm also rushing for time to not be able to pay attention to those stops yet. We're going to try and get some of them as we go, though. Arrival at Queen's Road, Peckham. Leaving Queen's Road, Peckham. Our next stop is Peckham Rye. We're going to push this to a P3 throttle as we leave the station because we are working on a 60-mile-per-hour speed limit that we're going to be timed under right now. So we're going to get that speed up as quick as we can so we can try to maintain enough time on our timetable. The 20 after the station is not going to affect us for right now because we are stopping in Peckham. That, I believe, is the transfer junction taking us towards the Tulse Hill area. I thought I saw a yellow signal ahead, but I think that might just be a street light. Or it's a yellow for a different route. Maybe that's what it is. So I moved my throttle. Yeah, it's a yellow for a different route. That's a double yellow signal up there. So I'm in an idle setting on my train now. We are going to go ahead and respond to that 20 limit coming up first of all. Then we're going to start lowering our speed for the station anyway. Not for the 20, but for the station. We have 45 seconds before we have to start really being stopped. So I'm going to take my time on this. Which is why I'm slowing down quite a bit right now. We're just going to go ahead and coast in at these lower speeds. We have the time. Might as well use it. We're going to be sitting here anyway. Here we go. Arrival at Peckham, platform number 1. We are actually a little bit early. Leaving Peckham, our next stop is East Dulwich. We just hit a 20 mile per hour speed limit as we left the station here. We're going to be entering a 35 in just a moment. So there's the line towards London Victoria heading off to the right. We're now taking the Tulse Hill path, which takes us through East Dulwich. We're going to start speeding up to our new 35 mile per hour speed limit on this line. Quick peek at the map to show you where we are. We're up here, and this is the line that we're taking in relation to the entire network right now. You can see the blue line is where we're going. Here's the area down here towards the Tulse Hill area. We're going to continue down here towards Straetham before we join at Straetham Common. We're familiar with Straetham Common. There's another train right there. That's the train from West Croydon to London Bridge. The same thing we're doing in reverse. Excuse me again. Trust me, I could try to take film not giving you any of these costs, but it will take me about 2 or 3 times as long to record it. And right now I don't feel like doing that. I need to get content up for you guys, so I'm going to do what I can. So I've gone into an idle setting right now. We are looking at coming to a stop in half a minute or so. Don't think we're going to have a problem with that. Perfect. Arrival at East Dulwich, and you can see North Dulwich up ahead, which is going to be our next very quick stop. Leaving East Dulwich, our next stop logically is North Dulwich. From east to north. So we are now under a 60-mile-per-hour speed limit. Who cares? We're coming to a stop. We're not given a lot of time for the stop, but we also don't have very far to travel, so that's logically understandable. However, the schedule does seem to be a little bit loose today, which is actually nice. Since the schedule does appear to be a little loose, I'll see if I can stop a little closer to the station itself this time. The yellow lighting. Ooh. Ooh. Actually, we have to stop close to the station. You can see this is the end of the platform right here. Arrival at North Dulwich, platform number 2. Leaving North Dulwich, our next stop is Tulse Hill. This is a little bit of a bigger station. We're going to be stopping there at platform number 4. And I keep questioning if my headlights are on. I keep doubting myself on that, but there they are. If I take a peek at the front of the train, you can see that they're kind of on. They're off, on. Taillights are on. We don't want those. We want the headlights. So our arrival time at Tulse Hill is 20:28. It is now just 20:26 just now, so we have 2 minutes to make our stop. We are going over the pace we need to make our stop, so I'm going to go ahead and slow down and use a lower speed at this time. Coming up on a half a mile to go to our stop. So at this point, 30 miles per hour would be enough to make the stop within the time that we have. So I'm going to try not to go below 30 miles per hour at this time until we actually are coming to a stop. Which will actually be very, very shortly. These headlights are garbage, aren't they, guys? My. So now I'm going to need to hold power for a moment. You can see the station coming up there. You can see the twinkling lights in the distance. And now we are going to start making our stop. So first brake application. We're going to go to step 2 now. And back to a step 1 so we don't come to a direct halt where we don't want to. You see the 2 additional platforms over to the right. So platform 4 is the end that we're on. Platform 1 is at the other end. Or stop right next to the stairs. That'll do. I'm going to wait until the second because we have the opportunity to do so. There we are, right on time at Tulse Hill, platform number 4. Leaving Tulse Hill, Our next stop is Straetham. We're entering a 45 mph speed restriction right now. You can notice that you may notice rather that I'm getting up to P4 throttle very, very quickly on this particular part of the journey. The reason for this is because Straetham is a very far distance away. We have to be there in 2 minutes, but we have 1.5 miles to go to get there. And if we don't get up to over 30 quickly, we're not going to be able to cover that space in the time that we're given. So we have to get ourselves to full throttle, get ourselves going at least 45. We may have to even cross into the area between 50 and 60 in order to make this stop on time. The good news is that we do have 6 more stops. That is 480 points available to score. That would give us a full maximum score of 1,040 points. So we do have a 40-point leeway if we do end up being late. However, we'd rather not be late. We might be okay staying at 45. I'm doing very well. We have a full minute to make our stop. We're within 0.7 of a mile, so we're doing well here. Since I'm on a downhill, I'm going to go ahead and idle the throttle at this point. As you can see, I have it blue, meaning that nothing is applied. That's our warning for a flashing yellow, which does not seem to be showing up. Or is that for the speed limit? That might be for... Oh, the flashing yellow is not showing up. Look at this, guys. The flashing yellow signal is not working. That is supposed to be a flashing double yellow, and then coming up as a flashing single yellow. Sometimes those signals do bug out and they don't work. There's nothing we can do about that. There's the flashing single yellow, so the double yellow didn't work. But the single yellow is working. So we're going to go ahead and start applying brakes now. In fact, I'm going to put a level 2 brake on right now because we need it badly. We're now at the moment we should be stopping. Going to ease off to a level 1 brake, step 1 brake for a moment. Again, I'm going to utilize a lot of the platform here. You see a shunt signal on the other track here, interestingly, on this Straetham stop. And doors are open at Straetham platform number 1. Leaving Straetham, our next stop is, of course, Straetham Common. We can't continue on the Sutton and Mole Valley line, which is what we're currently on. So we have to continue towards where we can go, which is Straetham Common. So as I said, this area that we're going to be leaving right here, this is the Sutton and Mole Valley line. This goes towards Horsham and other locations down here. You can see Mitcham Eastfields is listed. Tooting is on another path along that line, which I think is a separate loop. Like I said, we're leaving that line. Now, because we had a yellow signal at the last signal indicator, we have to assume that we could have a red coming up. So, in fact, it looks like that is a red signal I see there, but that could be for a different line. Looks like it would be for a different line. Ooh, we're hitting a downhill. We need to put some brakes on. That's a 1 in 28 downhill gradient. That is a very, very steep downhill gradient. I just got an achievement called South London Network Overtime, so hopefully I get to show you that at the end of the scenario. If I don't make any further mistakes at this point. We do have a clear green signal up ahead now. That we can see. We're also now on even ground, so we don't have to worry about hitting the brakes at the time. I'm going to go ahead and stay at 13 miles per hour for right now because we should be good for making our stop at this stage. We should be well within time. So we're joining the 60 mile per hour Brighton main line at this point from London to Brighton, to London Victoria to Brighton, I should say. Sorry. We're now in a 45 zone. Not that we're going to be able to speed up really anyway, but I'm going to go ahead and put a little speed on to get towards our stop. And then we'll go ahead and we'll bring the train down to a stop on time. This should be right about on time right here. There you go. Doors are open at Straetham Common, platform number 1, right on time. Disregard that unfortunate hit of the escape key as I hit the time there. We are heading towards Norbury from Straetham Common, leaving Straetham Common, heading to Norbury. We have a green signal. We can go up. I don't know why I threw the brakes down either. We're going up to 45 miles per hour. But we're going to be hitting a 60 in a moment. There we go. Let's put some throttle on to get speed as quickly as we can muster here. Of course, the train that we're traveling in is allowed a maximum speed of 75 miles per hour, so this train would not go on the Brighton main line beyond South Croydon. If it does take any surface, it would go as far as South Croydon and it would stop, because it is not designed for the Brighton main line at 90 miles per hour. My guess is this train probably does not even go to East Croydon. It probably just goes to West Croydon, that's that. I thought I saw a flashing yellow for a second. That seems to have changed. But we have a green. So we're coming to Norbury right now. I'm going to start putting some brakes on. Technically, we should have been stopped by now, which is just unrealistic. Brighton main line is busy this time of night. We should be okay for time here, but we'll open here anyway. So doors are open at Norbury, platform number 1. That was not the best takeoff you've ever seen from me, but leaving Norbury, heading next to Thornton Heath as our next stop. We shouldn't have made problems with timing on this one, I would say, given that really obscure takeoff. So I've now moved up to a P4 throttle after almost taking off at it, which probably would have gotten me a little bit of drive quality penalty if I kept that. Should be okay now. I'm going to go ahead and idle the throttle here. 45 is our limit coming up. And from what I can see, we have a whole minute. We should be good on time anyway, I would imagine. But since the time seems to be at the 25-second point of the minute, we don't have the whole minute to work with. So we might have to screech this one in. We'll find out. We have half a mile to go, and we have a little more than half a minute to go. In theory, that should be good, because we're going over 30 miles per hour. Of course, I say that's in theory because we have half a minute to go now. Down to a quarter of a mile to go. I'm making this tighter than it needs to be. I could have actually gone a little bit faster on that little segment there. So if I'm late, it's really on my own bacon, because now I'm actually looking like I'm arriving just in the very second I should be stopping, which is not ideal. We have a flashing yellow signal ahead, which is going to be something we have to worry about. Let's get this train stopped now and get those doors open before we get any later. We have 2 more stops after this. You saw Selhurst for a moment on the HUD up there. And doors are now open at Thornton Heath. We should still be on time. Leaving Thornton Heath, our next stop is Selhurst. We do have a flashing double yellow signal. That means we're going to be changing tracks after Selhurst to head towards West Croydon on the alternative track. So we will not be visiting East Croydon on this particular journey. Just a quick little reminder what the track looks like here as well. Here's where we normally head towards East Croydon down here, and then to South Croydon down there. There's actually a train that's going to be coming up along here, it looks like, heading out that way, in fact. Let's get back to my train before I lose my signal. That was awkward. So yeah, we're going to be not taking that path. We're going to be heading down here to West Croydon, and the track terminates here as it heads on its own path towards Sutton. We do have almost a full minute to make this stop, so for us that's plenty of time. There's another train over there. I didn't get the tag up for it in time. Probably another service heading back to London Bridge, or maybe somewhere like Victoria, I don't know. So there's our indication of the junction indicator up ahead. Our warning about it. Since we have the time, we should go ahead and use some of that time to cruise in as far as we need to. So I'm now under 10 miles per hour, which means I can now stop exactly where I want to stop within the time. I'm probably still going to stop early at this point. Green signal on the other track. There you go. Okay, we're going to stop right here. That's going to have to do, because we're getting to the end of the platform. And pretty much right on time. Arrival at Selhurst. Leaving Selhurst, our next stop, and for us our final stop, is at West Croydon, stopping at platform number 1. Keep in mind that we are passing a yellow signal, so we don't know if the next signal will be green, yellow, or red at this time as we approach it. So we're going to keep this in mind as we approach. We are entering a 15 mile per hour speed limit anyway, so perfect time to be under caution when we're on one of these transfer junctions. I see what looks like 2 different red signals up ahead. One of them is most likely ours. We can go up to 15 miles per hour, so I will increase the speed a little there. I've noticed, by the way, every time I look outside the train at a station, I seem to have what sounds like hazard lights on the train. I don't know what that is actually on the train, but it sounds like blinking hazard lights for some reason. So there's our warning for what is most assuredly our red signal right there on the right of those 2. You're not going to get to see the South London Network overtime achievement on my score screen either, because this might be the time to point out when I first did this. Let's just say the downhill got me and I ended up sliding slightly past the signal. So the game basically gave me a game over on it. So I'm going to try to inch as close as I can without slipping past. I can hear a train coming now anyway. There it is. Not the one I had in mind, but that's the Southampton Central train. Let's make sure we don't pass that red signal right now, because we're right on it now. There's another train right there as well, number 16, 2S69, 2022 Epsom to London, Victoria. That is probably the one we're waiting for. No, but I'll actually take that back. The train that passed in front of us is probably the one we were waiting for, but there's also a good chance that this could be the one we're waiting for too. We'll find out. It might be taking the track next to us, so it's probably not the one we're waiting for. No, it is. It's taking the track in front of us. So yeah, we are definitively waiting for that train right now. Once it clears, we should be good to go. There it is. So putting a little speed back on to get towards our 15 miles per hour that we're allowed. But because we're still on a slight downhill, I don't want to... Well, we're coming off that downhill in a moment. But I don't want to push too far just in case we gain on the remaining downhill. Nope, we're on flat ground now. We can speed up. 14 will do. Until we get to the 60. There's a 15 coming up before the station as well. So we're not going to get a lot of time to take this 60. Nor are we going to get anywhere close to that 60. Since we had a green, we can assume we can proceed at line speed. We don't have to worry about what the next signal is, which is good because it's yellow. We're now under a 20, it looks like, so we can speed up a little bit. Now we're entering the 60, so we can go up to P4 for a moment. Responding, of course, to that yellow signal. You can see our terminus up ahead. So it looks like this is actually a terminal platform we're going into and not just the end of the route. It actually is a terminal platform. So the service actually does end at West Croydon. It does not continue onwards. And I know there are services like that in real life, so that makes sense as well. We have a full minute to make our stop. We're going to have to get down to 15 before we enter the area there. So I'm slowing down just a little bit as we enter this yellow. I'm kind of holding at 25 for a moment. We have what's going to turn into a 45 and then quickly a 15 as we take the junction. I probably should be coming in a little bit faster, but... How's my chicken, guys? So the signs have widened out just a little bit. There we go. We're going to stop at 15 now and not increase anymore. So we have a 1/10 of a mile to go, which is doable. It is doable at this speed. But we're going to be inching into the platform towards the buffer as well. So there is that. So you can see the main platform over to the left. We're not taking that one. Quick peek at the map where we are. You can see where we're pulling in here. That is indeed a terminal platform. And the route does continue. But of course, we're not going to be seeing any of that route because... it's basically the route terminus. So we're always going to be pulling into this platform in general. I'm going to give it up to the half minute here, and then we're going to go ahead and stop. That'll do. We should still be on time with that. We're close enough to the buffer for acceptability. So that's the end of the scenario. Let's look at our train as we finish. Make sure to stop and look at the information board on the way out for important information. Don't mind the fact there's a bench sitting in front of it. I mean, they could have moved that bench a little bit to the right, couldn't they? No, they just put it right in front of the information board, facing away from the information board, so you can't even read the board. Good job, guys. Good job. Good planning. So our passengers are deboarding the train at this time. This is the end of the service. And it's not often I get to give you a nice view inside the station like this. I like being able to do this. I like this kind of view. So, yeah, 2 of our class 4, 5, 6 scenarios are now done. We still have the 3, 7, 5 scenarios as well. And I got an achievement for this one, for the scenario. So we're going to have an achievement after all on the ending screen. Let's take a look at it in just a moment. You've arrived at West Croydon on time and have given plenty of time for the passengers to get home after a long work shift today. Well done. Thank you very much. Let's look at the score. South London Network A star driver. I guess the plus doesn't work on the achievements. I don't know, guys. Maybe the plus doesn't work in the achievements because it's supposed to be A plus, but we're getting an A star driver. Whatever. That's basically that, and obviously everything there is fine, so we don't have to worry about anything on that. We've got our 1,000 points. Maybe you have to have 1,000 points on that, or is it 900 for that one? I don't know. But we had a 40-point leeway, so we couldn't really do much to screw that one up. The timings were okay on that one. So 2 out of 7 done, 5 to go. And going back to my scenario list, I'm just going to do a very, very quick summarization. We have the Outer Southern Service, which is also a 456. Stopper at the Bridge, which is another 456. That's a shorter of the 2 scenarios coming up in the 456. Then we also have some very, very short 375 scenarios. Delayed Southeastern, Hastings diversions, and winter troubles. I have not decided if I'm going to go back to the 375 yet, or if I'm going to stay on the 456 for right now. I might do one scenario on the 375 for the Tuesday scenario, and then I might come back to the 456 to finish the week and go back to 375 after that. That way there's a little bit of a variety here, and then I can start off next week giving you a tour of the 456 as well. So that seems to me like a most optimal way to do this, and I think that might be what I do. So I'll confirm that with the next scenario, though. In the meantime, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you do come back and see those other scenarios as well, because I am definitely going to play all the different scenarios and go to all the different routes that we can on this. And as soon as I'm done doing that, I already have the Armstrong Powerhouse 456 installed to use. And keep in mind, the Armstrong Powerhouse 456 is its own model. I do have a scenario pack on the South London to Brighton route that uses that. And as well as a couple other trains I'm going to need to do some substitutions for, because unfortunately, Armstrong Powerhouse has not made the sound pack for that available anymore, so I have to do substitutions or do other things, which I'll figure out. I don't know how I'm going to handle that yet. I might just have to swap in the original version of the train instead for those. But either way, the scenario pack is on the South London to Brighton route. We are going to get to see some scenarios to Brighton as well on that pack, going to London Bridge, and I'm looking forward to showing you those when I get there. I think that's why I want to get the 456 done, so I can show you the couple scenarios on that stereo pack. There are other trains on there as well we've already seen, of course, the 377, the 375, and some others as well. I'll introduce that pack to you in the future. We still have 5 scenarios here to look at first, and we're also going to go to another route before we come back to South London to Brighton anyway. Don't know what route yet. We'll let you know when we get there. I'm also looking at the London Transport Heritage route, because we did do the Pannier on Falmouth, and there's a Pannier on that fictional route as well, so we might actually do that as well. Definitely worth considering. But lots to do here in the meantime. I'll see you next time for the next scenario. Make sure you stay tuned on the playlist for that to start very shortly. In the meantime, make sure you have a wonderful day, evening, or night, whatever it is for your part of the world. Make sure you join the Discord server as well if you want to chat with me off video. In the meantime, the next video will start on our playlist, if it's already posted, in 3, 2, 1.